This is a summary that highlights the key takeaways from Dr. Andrew Huberman's Huberman Lab podcast episode featuring Dr. Kyle Gillett, titled Tools for Hormone Optimization in Males. And before diving in, I just want to clarify that the summary focuses only on the most practical information for everyday life that I think applies to the average person. And there is a lot of in-depth and fascinating content in the full episode that isn't covered in this specific video. And I am also by no means qualified to give professional medical advice. The summary is just a collection of personal notes on topics that I find relevant to my own life and to my own health optimization as a teenager aiming for longevity and a healthy lifestyle. And so I highly encourage you to listen to the full podcast for a deeper understanding of the topic. And the summary is simply meant to just give you a brief overview and highlight the most actionable advice for everyday life, and to just serve as a companion to give you a better understanding when listening to the actual full length podcast. But with that being said, good hormone health depends on balancing several key factors. These include physical factors like eating a nutritious diet, staying active with regular exercise, getting enough sleep, maintaining positive social relationships, spending time in nature, and getting optimal sunlight exposure. And even more spiritual pillars like having a sense of purpose and meaning in life. Managing these areas consistently helps support your hormones and overall well being. Nutrition plays a big role in your hormone health, especially during your teenage and early adult years. So avoid overly restrictive diets like pure carnivore or vegan diets, as they can lower important hormones by limiting your consumption of essential nutrients. Instead, focus on eating a balanced diet that includes enough vitamin D, healthy fats, and fiber to keep your gut healthy. And during growth stages like puberty, consuming dairy can help support certain growth hormones. Dirty bulking means intentionally eating more than you need, often leading to gaining fat along with muscle. And while this does seem like a quick way to build size and gain more muscle, and I'm sure that this is a concept that you've heard a lot in the past, especially if you're into things like fitness, weightlifting, gym culture, things like that. But it can actually have negative effects on your body, especially when you are young. This is because it can potentially stop you from growing taller and may lead to having an unhealthy body composition in the long run due to you having an excessive consumption of a lot of unhealthy foods like processed sugar. However, regular resistance training, like just normal weightlifting by itself, doesn't seem to affect your growth. And also, exercise is great for your health and hormone, but it's all about balance because working out consistently is more important than exerting 100% of your energy in vigorous workouts every single day. And in fact, pushing yourself too hard for over an hour every single day can actually mess with your hormones. So instead, try mixing intense workouts like weightlifting or sprinting just a few times a week with lighter activities like walking or stretching on other days. Also, when lifting heavy weights, using proper form is important not just to avoid injury, but to protect the muscles around your core and pelvic areas. Watching porn and masturbation too often, like every day or more, can mess with your brain's reward system. And over time, this might lower your sex drive and make real life relationships feel less exciting or motivating. They also talk about supplements and how you should only really consider supplementing nutrients after optimizing your general behavior and nutrition. The first one is creatine, about 5 grams a day, and this supports testosterone, DHT conversion, cognition, and performance. And they also did explain that the concern of hair loss is largely overblown. The next one is L-carnitine, about 1 to 5 grams a day, and this increases androgen receptor density. And then there's vitamin D, which is a crucial nutrient if you are someone that is deficient in vitamin D. Then there's boron, about 5 to 12 milligrams a day. This acutely lowers high SHBG, which is sex hormone binding globulin, and it's a protein made mostly in your liver, and it binds to sex hormones in your blood and helps control the amount of sex hormones that are actively working in your body. But too much sex hormone binding globulin makes more testosterone unavailable for biological processes, leading to symptoms like fatigue, decreased libido, body composition changes, and even cognitive issues. Then there's Tanget Ali, 300 to 1200 milligrams a day, and this increases testosterone, free testosterone, DHEA, which lowers high sex hormone binding globulin. Then there's also Phaedogia agristis. I think that's how you say it. I don't know. Maybe I'm butchering it, but they did recommend around 600 milligrams EOD or 3 times a week. And this increases LH release, which is luteinizing hormone release. But you should also monitor liver and testicular markers if you are using higher doses or if you're just taking it daily. And then TRT, or testosterone replacement therapy, is something that should be carefully thought about, especially for younger people whose levels are still in that normal range. And while it can help with symptoms like low energy or mood, it also comes with risks like lowering your chances of having kids and affecting different parts of your body. So it needs close medical monitoring. And doctors today often use smaller amounts more frequently, like splitting a weekly dose into 2 or 3 smaller ones to keep hormone levels steady. And a medicine called HCG is sometimes added to help protect fertility and keep the testicles working. But how well that works can vary. And also, environmental factors can affect your hormones. So try to avoid BPA, which is a chemical compound found in some plastics and canned food linings, and phthalates found in pesticides and some processed foods, because they can mess with your body's natural hormone balance. And it's also a good idea to test your tap water to check for harmful chemicals. And then certain lifestyle habits can lower your testosterone and hurt fertility. Try to avoid things like smoking weed or nicotine, drinking too much alcohol, and overheating the area around your testicles from things like hot tubs or saunas without cooling down, wearing tight underwear, or sitting down for too long. And then the last important point is getting regular blood tests is important for understanding your health and tracking any changes over time. And it is a good idea to start testing around age 18 and to continue doing it about twice a year. This is also something that I have been looking to do for myself. So maybe I'll get a blood test, share some results or something. I don't know. But I am thinking about getting a blood test sometime soon. But anyways, some key things to check out in the blood include testosterone levels, estrogen, thyroid function, and cholesterol levels. And these tests help your doctor understand how your body is functioning. And their expertise is crucial in interpreting the results correctly. So you need to do this with like a good doctor. So you could pinpoint what areas of your internal health where you are lacking, and so you can figure out ways to improve it. And that is all of my notes from this podcast episode. If you learned something insightful, like the video, check out my other videos, subscribe for more videos. But yeah, stay tuned for the next one. Check out my other socials, my X, my Medium, and my newsletter. And I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.